We all know how it is in the NBA now. It's all about the super team. We're all familiar with the concept. We all know the concept. And the reality is that you have got a couple of super teams. They matter. Then you've got everybody else. They're not super teams. And frankly, they just don't matter. That's why the NBA regular season doesn't matter. And most of the NBA playoffs, they really don't matter either. And we could talk about whether we like the concept or not, or whether it's kind of a bitch way to go about it, but it is the reality. And if teams are able to put themselves in a position where they can construct teams as such, then who are we to knock them for? Well, we're fans, and we're still going to. And again, I get it, because I do it too. But if you've put yourself in a position to where you can do that, ultimately the name of the game is to win the title. And by acquiring and accumulating the most talent, you feel like you've potentially given yourself the best chance. And frankly, if we're running a team, we probably in the NBA would want to construct our own super teams too. So we can complain about it and at the same time be envious if we're not able to do so and be doing everything we can to try and position ourselves at some point to be able to do so. And that's just what it is. But this is getting a little goddamn ridiculous now. It's getting way too carried away. The funny thing is while it means the regular season really doesn't matter, the vast majority of the playoffs don't matter, people still watch. And honestly, the casual sports fans appreciate superstars, super teams. They appreciate dynasties. They appreciate dominance, and that's just the way it is. Hardcore sports fans might not be able to wrap their fingers around that, but that is the truth. But even then, at some point in time, enough is enough. And you got the reports yesterday, and we know it's official. It's going to be official that DeMarcus Cousins is signing a one-year deal to play for the Golden State Warriors. That's right, the Golden State Warriors, who have made it themselves to 4 straight NBA Finals and won 3 of those 4 NBA Finals. A team with 4 All-Stars in Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Klay Thompson, and Draymond Green now have added a 5th All-Star into the mix in Boogie Cousins. This is insane. Now, I know we could talk about the fact that Boogie Cousins is coming off of a torn Achilles. He might not be in the fold until January or February, and that is true. But just to think about the fact that the Golden State Warriors were in such a position with 4 All-Stars, one of the dominant dynasties that we'll ever see because they're not done yet, has now been able to add a 25-12 type of guy in free agency in DeMarcus Cousins and not have to do any major shuffling of the roster, not have to deplete their bench or anything else to do so. They got DeMarcus Cousins to come to them and agree to take the taxpayer mid-level for 1 year. An all-star, averaging mid-20s a game in points and double-digit rebounds a game. One of the most skilled big men we have in basketball. In spite of his flaws and some of the transgressions, he is still a massively talented and incredibly skilled ball player. And now the Golden State Warriors are able to add him to the mix for peanuts by comparison. Like if he was healthy, didn't tear his Achilles, somebody would have had to been coming knocking on the door, even with some of the concerns about personality and attitude and potentially being a cancer in the locker room. Somebody would have given him max money or close to max money. The Warriors just got him for a charity case for a little over $5 million fucking dollars. This is insane. This is ridiculous. And I absolutely am not going to knock the Golden State Warriors for doing it. Because if I was in their position, I would probably do the same damn thing. I get a guy the level of talent of DeMarcus Cousins, even with the concerns about his attitude, even with the concerns about what he can do to your locker room and team chemistry. We're a team that's won 3 championships in 4 years, a team full of all-stars. The simple fact of the matter is the Golden State Warriors have this great situation where they don't need somebody like Cousins to win a championship. They know it. He knows it. It's a great place to be in. They have the leverage. If they don't want to deal with him, they don't have to deal with him. There is absolutely no desperation to be feeling like you're forced to have to play him or put up with any of his shit. And frankly, at this stage of his career, right here, right now, coming off of that Achilles injury and some of the baggage that DeMarcus Cousins brings into the fold, that's really honestly what Boogie needs. He needs a place where he can go that doesn't have a lot of expectations on him, and they don't freaking need him. And it will be incumbent upon him to figure out his place, to figure out his role. I mean, you can't tell me if you're in the position of the Golden State Warriors that you're not trying to do everything you can to maximize the window of opportunity to win championships right here, right now. That's why you're paying these guys all this money. That's why you've got all this all-star talent. That's the name of the game. So why not do everything you can to give yourself the ability to potentially win more? And for 1 year at least, DeMarcus Cousins does just that. When you talk about talent and wanting to add talent, and for a team already into luxury tax space like the Golden State Warriors, they have to count on buying second-round picks and drafting guys and hoping they become role players for them, getting veterans at the end of their careers that are maybe looking for a chance to chase a title, maybe guys that are trying to rehab their image and so on and so forth. That's what the Golden State Warriors are built on. The stars and then those other guys that come in other ways. You just don't get the opportunity to get an all-star level player like DeMarcus Cousins for $5+ million a year. That's it. 1 year. That's it. You don't have to cut anybody else. You don't have to let anybody walk in free agency in order to facilitate it. You don't have to trade anybody. The Golden State Warriors had to do this. Doesn't mean I have to like it. Doesn't mean I have to love it. But I also know damn good and well that if I was in their position and Boogie Cousins is calling me, asking me to come there, and I tell him I can only give him the taxpayer mid-level exception of like $5.7 million, and he's down with that, you goddamn right I'm going to bring him into the fold. Who we should really be pissed at is the rest of the NBA. Reportedly, not a single team came and offered Boogie Cousins anything. And maybe part of that is the concern over the torn Achilles. Maybe part of that is the concern about the fact that he's a big put-up numbers guy, but not a lot of wins guy. And they saw what New Orleans did when he went out. They weren't any worse. And frankly, I think a lot of people agree they probably were a better team without him on the floor. But there's too much talent, too much gas left in the tank for somebody to not have come along and offer him some type of short-term close to max or a short-term deal or even like a 1 year $10 million prove-it deal. There had to be teams out there with cap space that could have used somebody like a Boogie Cousins, even if you know you're only getting them for maybe 3 months of the regular season. Somebody had to take the chance. Somebody had to roll the dice. So don't be pissed at Boogie Cousins because he saw an opportunity to kind of reshape his career path, to remake his image, and in the process be able to contend and win a championship, learning from legends, learning from all-stars, learning from Hall of Famers. If we're Boogie Cousins, we want to go to that situation too. It's on the NBA's ass for allowing this type of shit to happen. It's on the other 29 teams for not coming up with one single pure surefire contract offer. It is on any one of those other 29 teams for not going out there and trying to woo DeMarcus Cousins. It is on them for allowing this to become a possibility to occur. It's that simple. You want to blame anybody else? Blame the other teams in the league. And if you're not a Warriors fan, then blame your team for helping to facilitate this and allow this to happen. Yes, it's sickening. It's gross. It makes me want to vomit when I think about it. Again, truly, why the fuck would we watch the regular season? Why the hell would we even need to watch anything other than the Western Conference Finals? Because it just doesn't matter. This is getting ridiculous. The only thing I could say is, from one season to the next, you never know what can happen. Boogie could be good for the Golden State Warriors because this is a team that deals a lot with complacency and boredom. Well, Boogie's a different type of personality, somewhat similar to when the Lakers brought in Metta World Peace. He was a guy that hadn't won a championship, so he was really hungry to prove himself, and he brought a different personality to the table, and maybe Boogie Cousins can do that. But it's also a concern of how does he really fit when you're trying to play against a team like a Houston or maybe, let's say, a Los Angeles, that they build themselves up. How does he fit? Does he really factor into the fourth quarter? Does it matter that much when you're paying him less than $6 million and you're only on the hook for it for 1 year? His personality could come in and cause some problems. But then in that case, you could just send this freaking asshole packing, and you've still got a two-time defending champion team and a team that's won 3 championships in 4 years. It's just ridiculous that the NBA allows this to happen, where a guy like DeMarcus Cousins, even coming off of an Achilles injury in the peak of his career, an all-star player, can go to the defending NBA champions, a dynasty like the Golden State Warriors, for the taxpayer mid-level exception. That is absolutely fucking ridiculous. And as a hardcore sports fan, it makes me want to vomit. And all the while, I'm a complete and total hypocrite, because if I'm the Golden State Warriors, I would have done the exact same damn thing. Shame on everybody else in the NBA for allowing this abortion of a thing to happen.